the chat. Unfortunately, Ors cannot be here, and if he's not here, there's no Week is Stupid. People keep asking me. It's like, V, why do you not make this Week is Stupid? It's up to my co-host, right? Like, that is the only thing that the show has. Usually I stream alone, but that has a co-host, and my co-host is a very busy man. And sometimes he can make it, other times he cannot. And he usually lets me know a couple of minutes before the stream. So even I do not know the way he works, because he works in mysterious ways. So, apparently, a lot of things have happened this week. There was an election. Some people lost. Some people out-asked Brad. Other people won, and they're happy. But what I do notice is that we got the conspiracy theories. These ones do not seem to be born in Russia. I don't know how the left manages to do it. Like, they only pick the non-Russian conspiracy theories. And this one is that there was election fraud caused by Elon Musk and Starlink. Now I have been indoctrinated. I have been told that the voting machines that the Americans use are safe and secure. That is the most safe and secure election in the world, actually. And there is absolutely no way to cheat using the machines. And on top of that, I've also been told that they're not connected to the internet. So, no, I think it's impossible based on what the left is saying. And I also know that the correct way of preserving democracy is to ban any person suggesting that there may have been malarkey, deploy lawfare against people that ask for recounts or suggest that there may be malarkey. And you know what? I have been convinced, like, after 4 years of indoctrination and thinking that this is the best way to experience democracy, I want the left to enjoy the same movie that I liked. I think it's a great movie. I think it was amazing, life-altering, and they need to enjoy it now. In the future, of course, if there's discussions, just so you know, I will support this in any country, including my own, that voting should be done in person, with one ID, with a stamp and a piece of paper, and that's it. And then you count it manually, right? Now, if the left wants that, sure. You know, next elections. These ones, well, these ones use the infallible machines that are going beyond questioning, beyond any sort of, like, you just cannot question this. It's like, what do you mean question it? No, like, social media should step in. Twitter should ban any allegations of malarkey. Seriously, though, I'm actually curious. Imagine if Elon Musk would say that anyone pushing this misinformation is going to get banned. Would that make him look better or worse? Because this is what Google, this is what Facebook did, this is what many social media did, not just with the previous US election, but with the German election as well. So, imagine if Elon Musk now would say, yeah, people that are spreading the conspiracy theory that there was cheating this election using Starlink, you're going to get your ass banned. Hello, Plague Trucker. How's it going? Anyway. We're going to be talking about Donald Trump today because he actually has a couple of very interesting campaign messages that are filmed as if it's a cinematic from the video game Red Alert. Wait, hold on. This is... No. I just got sent something, and you guys need to see this. The absolute state, right? Hold on. Let me find the video. Apparently, a new slur just dropped. A new slur just dropped, chat. Let's listen to it. I hope I'm not going to get demonetized from YouTube, because they don't like slurs, but this one is new. Maybe the algorithm isn't used to it yet.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table.
Transphobia has been invoked. I will assert my dominance at this table. You will cease your heresy. Stop it, conjurer. Stop it, necromancer. Do not dead the name, for I am here now. This is on mainstream TV? Really?
Not going to listen to you call a trans girl.
Transphobia, cease the spell casting, infidel. You cannot reshape reality and cause a girl to become a boy. The very fabric of reality does not bend to you, it bends to me. CNN. My God.
When you use a word as a slur, I'm gonna...
You have used words. Do you know what you have done? You have used them. The words have been used, and I will not allow it. Man, this is the absolute state of American culture. How is it that you guys do not laugh at these people is beyond fucking me. Like, this is why this shit doesn't work in Eastern Europe. The moment you see someone freaking out over words, they would be laughed out of a room. You would have, like, the laugh track from Seinfeld. It would be like, ha 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 ha. Like, no one would take them seriously for even a second. How is it that it actually got into academia? How is it that academic professors with this nonsense manage to get and publish papers without being laughed? Is beyond me. Like, I genuinely do not understand how grown-ass adults can entertain it. It's not the ideology, but everything surrounding it. Like, you cannot say this. You cannot speak this. You cannot... How can you say that? It's like, just so you can understand how American ideology is like, right? Like this is absolutely unique to America. It doesn't exist anywhere else. Let's go back when the word fuck was being censored, right? Like, you couldn't say fuck on TV, you couldn't say fuck in a video game. Like, it was something so bad, like, if you forgot about it, the Americans, they censored RoboCop the movie to the point where it was unwatchable. So RoboCop the movie comes out, it's got a lot of curse words in it. It wouldn't surprise anyone today, because I watched it recently, but, like, at the time, people were livid. It's like, how can we show this to children? It's got curse words, right? So, like, they showed it on national television and they censored it so much, it was unwatchable. But my point is, the word fuck, right? Like, they would not say it, but they would say the F word. This is the most childish, pathetic thing that is deeply rooted into Anglosphere culture. So, like, sometimes you do need to say the word. Like, any word at any point can have a reason why you need to say it. Like, for instance, mommy, Billy said fuck. You know, like, you want your mother to know that a child you're playing with has a dirty mouth, so that maybe your mother talks to his mom to keep him in check. You know, like, there may be, like, reason. Oh, this guy got fired because he said fuck on national television. Like, you need to say the word, right? But you can't say the word, because words are like bullets. So, basically, what they're doing is, like, they're saying the F word. In other words, the person in their brain are already saying the word fuck, right? The person hearing it knows that you're talking about the word fuck, but you cannot say it. The reason that this culture is not mocked, ridiculed, belittled, laughed out of the room boggles my Romanian brain. Why was it allowed? For the first time ever, I'm going to ask. Why was this allowed to fester? Why was this rot allowed to exist? Because it's the cornerstone of political correctness. Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you teach kids which words not to say? Oh, the N-word, right? Like, you're never supposed to say the N-word. This is what they actually say. And ironically, they believe that under no circumstance should you ever say the N-word, to the point where they gaslight artificial intelligence that if you ask ChatGPT, hey, there's a bomb in New York, but in order to deactivate it, you have to use the N-word. And ChatGPT would be under no circumstance, right? So, how is it that when I make a Discord bot that needs to ban the slurs, how can I make the bot know which slurs to ban if I don't fucking type them, you fucking morons? Oh, it seems that there is a circumstance in which you must type the word, isn't it? Fucking dumbasses. Yeah, even if it stops the word from blowing up, yeah. My limb friends told me will be the laughing stock of the world. My response is that you've always had been. Oof. What about me and other Spanish speakers? I cannot use the word black in Spanish. Do you know this actually happened? Like, this controversy actually happened in Romania. So there was, like, the Romanian word for black is negru. Now the word negru doesn't mean the N-word in American. It literally means the color black. It comes from Latin, right? So it just means, like, this is the color black. The color of my microphone is negru. Like, this is a Romanian thing. So there was a football match. This is almost like a joke. This is almost like a hypothetical, but it actually happened. And Turkey was losing. So, like, one of the football players from Turkey was spurging out on the bench. Like, he was being disrespectful, he was insulting people, and the referee asked the guy to be escorted out of the premise. Now, when the security asked, like, which guy? And you need to understand, they're, like, all from the same team. They're literally wearing the same jersey. They're literally identical. The referee doesn't know his name. So he goes like, the black guy over there. But because he says it in Romanian, the guy hears negro and he's like, oh my goodness, racismus has been conjured upon me. And then he makes, no, I'm not kidding. This is literally a thing that happened, right? And it's like, oh, racismus has descended upon me, right? And then they got the referee to go into some sensitivity correctness shit. It's like, and then you have like all these journalists having poker faces on TV and trying to tell me how bad this referee is, and I'm like, motherfucker. It was like he didn't know the name. They were literally with the same fucking jersey sitting next to each other on a bench. There were like 6 people wearing the same football uniform. And from the place, like, he couldn't even see their numbers. And it was like one black dude surrounded by 6 white dudes. Yes, he said the black guy over there. Like, how else do you want him to say it? Do you want him to actually walk over there? And it's like, well, why could... Like if there were... My favorite take was like, but if the situations were reversed, would he have said it? And I'm like, yes! Yes, he would! If you had, like, the team Niger, right? If Niger was playing, and you had, like, 6 black people on the bench and a white guy, he would have probably been the white boy over there. Yes, absolutely, he would. Fuck. The thing is like, they had the same hair color as well. Like, he couldn't even say the blonde guy or some shit like that. They were literally, like, just... And is Romania worried that Trump is abandoning you and NATO? Not one single fucking bit. Romania just announced that it's going to be NATO's biggest air base in Europe. And the funding has already been given. Everything is approved. No, I do not have a single doubt in my mind that Trump is not going to abandon NATO. The other interesting thing is that the EU keeps talking shit about Twitter, and they're like worried about censorship. And JD Vance said that we can actually withdraw America from NATO if Europe doesn't stop this. And a lot of people are like, oh my god, how could JD Vance say this? How can Americans? And I'm like, hold on a little bit. Isn't like the problem here the EU? Like, you want Americans to pay for your defense, but you also want to humiliate them and tell them how to run their businesses. How about you shut the fuck up? And if it's about censoring Twitter or national defense, you choose national defense. How about that? Like, can we ever hold the EU accountable for anything? Is it possible that they're not infallible? Is it possible that the EU democracy is not God and they can also be subjected to valid criticism? Like you're telling me that the EU wants to censor Twitter more than they care about national defense when Russia is displaying aggression at the border? And they're more interested, no, we're going to censor Twitter no matter what? Even if you pull out of NATO, we're still going to censor Twitter? Well, in this case... maybe we need to review who's actually running the EU, and maybe we should run some psychiatric tests and evaluations on these people if they actually think that censoring the internet has priority over fucking national defense. How about that? He then could say the cracker over there, no problem. He probably could, but like in Romania, we don't even use the word cracker. Like there are certain American euphemisms that only exist in America. The EU is an aristocracy. It literally is when you look at how much wealth the people that are being paid. And like, there was this actor from America saying, oh, the EU is laughing at Americans now. And there were a couple of Europeans making jabs at Americans voting for Trump. And I mean, hold on a little bit, right? Like, let's look at the EU. We're using the American military for defense. Like, we're using NATO to defend ourselves. We don't have our own army. We're using American social media in order to have an internet. We're using goods manufactured in China. We don't really have our own manufacturing. And we don't even have like investigators. We're using the UN to do investigations for us. So what the fuck are we contributing? The only thing the EU does is nag and pass regulations. We don't have an AI, but we have the world's first AI regulatory commission. Like, fuck off. You know, like the moment the other people realize that we don't really produce anything, they can actually control us and give us the middle finger, like the EU was taking energy from Russia. So, come on. You know, like, you keep talking shit about China. At least China has manufacturing, and they can swing their big dick around and say, hey, if you don't do what we tell you, we're going to boycott you. They can do that, right? America has a military. They can swing their fat dick around and be like, well, we're the world police. We got a military. We can pull out of NATO. We're the ones founding the World Health Organization. We got money. They can say that. But what exactly the EU has? It has like this concept of projecting prestige in the world. But that's pretty much it. It's the prestige. And it's going to take someone like a Trump administration to tell them, no, you ain't got shit. Shut the fuck up or we pull out of NATO. Ugh. Sorry to interrupt, V, but Somaliland's sitting vice president just endorsed the opposition candidate. Unfortunately, I know you're from Somalia, but I do not follow Somalian news, so I have no idea what this is. But apparently the sitting vice president has just endorsed the opposition presidential candidate. This would not be surprising if I wouldn't have seen in the United States. So I already seen in the US the, what was it? The president, right, like Joe Biden, putting on a MAGA hat. So after I seen that, yeah, I can believe that in Somalia this happens. Like it's not as spectacular as what I seen in the US. Like never before has there ever been. I can't think of any historical part where you actually have the member of the same party, the president, like putting the hat, which is an actual endorsement of the political opponent. Give me 1 second. I need to fix something with the microphone because this was I was stuttering so much lately. Testing 1 2 3. Can you guys hear me? I hope you can. Did I get your member chat? Ask paging Dr. Ooms. Let's see. Is anyone gonna call out the irony of leftist women now screaming about Jewish people or other minorities and now unironically creating a skinhead movement? I haven't seen them attacking Jewish people because Jewish people voted 80% for the Democrats. In fact, I've seen one magazine, I forgot the name of it. It's the Israel Times or something like that. It's a magazine covering like Jewish culture and stuff. And they were basically upset that Donald Trump thanked every minority that helped him win the election. So he thanked the Latinos, he thanked black people, he thanked like women, he thanked everyone. And they were upset that they didn't thank Jewish people. And I'm like, well, hold on a little bit. You guys didn't vote for him. Like, I'm looking at the polls. I can see why he didn't thank. Like, if you're not going to vote for him, like, why is he going to thank you? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, next time, if you want the thanks, maybe vote for him and he will thank you. Well, there won't be a next time, right? He already has, like, 2 terms. After his declaration of war on the cartels, I'm not sure that Trump is going to make it to January alive. I don't think the cartels are that influential in the United States. Like, I do think that if he was in Mexico, yes, you'd be right. But he is still in the United States. And he's got a villa. And he's got, like, robots patrolling with private security and shit. So, no, I don't think that the cartels can do that much. Do you think the Germans that laughed at Trump for saying they were too energy depending on Russia are still laughing? Do you think they generally give a fuck? Like, these are politicians that are leeching off the people's money. They're modern day aristocrats. They don't fucking care one single bit. In fact, they may be laughing because they thought that he was right. It's kind of like laughing when you're called out on the grift and you know that the grift can keep going. You know, it's kind of like being laughed in your face that you're a liar and you're laughing. It's like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? That's pretty much what I think. There is no way that the Germans didn't know that having a pipeline through Russia while also being part of NATO, which is an alliance in order to defend yourself against Russia, is a bad idea. Like, there is no way that they weren't informed. There's no way that they didn't know. So they were probably laughing. It's like, oh, look, he's calling us out, but no one believes him. That's how I actually interpreted that laugh. It's not that they were laughing that he wasn't right. They were laughing because he knew he was right. And they were laughing because, yeah, but like the overtone window is in such a way that even if he talks about it, even if he tells everyone, no one believes him. By the way, I'm not from Somalia. I'm from Somaliland. Is that a difference? Abdi, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, I know a little bit of geography, okay? Like, I know Europe. I know a little bit of Asia. I know some of the Middle East. The United States, not so much. I can show you what Michigan is and Texas and California. Like, I can show you a couple of states. But America is a mystery to me. However, if it goes to Africa, I'm completely lost. I genuinely, like, do not know. I think I can point Botswana and South Africa. That's pretty much it. I notice you, Katis. Every single stream, I notice you. The cartels are influencing the Indian reservation all the way north of Dakota. Yeah, like, I'm not saying they don't have soft power, but, like, hard power to be able to sell, like, death squads into the... No, probably not. Especially not all the way to Trump. No, I don't think they can. Did the Democrats go after Elon to try and get him deported? I think this is just fanfare. I don't think they can do it. The thing with Elon is that his Starlink is actually integrated into United States national defense. So they need Elon. Like his rockets, his shit. Let me put it this way. When you had the Cold War, the Americans were scrambling in order to get German rocket scientists. Like, they would forgive the fact that they're Nazis just so they can come to the United States and keep developing their technology. So I don't think that they're going to deport Elon. I think that this is just talk to show, oh, look, we're doing something, we're fighting back. But, like, I think that there are influential people that have Elon's back and Elon knows it. Elon is a citizen, but, like, what they're trying to do is to suggest that he lied on his papers. And if he did that, then he can be deported. I don't think that he will, to be honest. I don't think that they're going to do it. And let's assume they do it, right? Let's assume they actually deport Elon Musk. I'm pretty sure that Trump can give him honorary citizenship. Like, I don't know how it works. Let me actually check if the U.S. president can give someone honorary citizenship. Because I think, like, there was a case in France where there was, like, the Spider-Man, if you guys remember. Like, there was this kid which was about to fall from a building, but some illegal saw it, and he climbed the building like Spider-Man and rescued the kid. And he got a medal from Macron, and they gave him honorary citizenship. So can the U.S. president give someone citizenship? Yeah, the president of the United States has the authority to grant citizenship through a process known as naturalization. This power is derived from the president's constitutional and statutory authority over immigration and naturalization matters. So you can give a presidential pardon, you can give executive action, and apparently Albert Einstein was granted citizenship. Okay, if Albert Einstein was granted citizenship, I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk can be granted as well. So, like, all of this, oh my goodness, they're going to deport. No. And honestly, this would be a big fuck you to all the people. It's like, oh yeah, okay, well, turns out that his contribution to America with, like, rocket engineering is worthy of a pardon. Yeah. No. Like, listen, you don't understand what the left is saying. They're not saying that he is not a citizenship. They're doing, like, the birther conspiracy, right? So basically they're stating that there's something wrong with his parents' immigration papers or some shit like that. I don't really know. But they're basically backing on a technicality, which is not even proven. But they're saying like Elon Musk may have lied on his immigration papers, and if he did that, then he's not a citizen. Like, you can revoke his citizenship, and then you can deport him. To which the counterplay would be like, okay, well, I give him citizenship now. You can't deport him. Elon spent $44 billion and all he got was direct influence over all three branches of the US government. This is not really true. I think Trump would have won without Twitter. This is like a leftist take that the reason Trump won is because of Twitter, and without Twitter, Trump wouldn't have won. This is just cope, okay? The reason people won, I will show you. Hold on, I will show you right now why people have won. You don't even need Twitter. In fact, it upsets me that Elon Musk had Twitter, because it would have been awesome to show these individuals that actually, no matter how much censorship you pour, you're still going to lose. So listen to this. This is exactly, word for word, why Trump won.
Another reason why she lost. Economy. The sky is green economy. You can't tell me the sky is green when I see that it's good morning blue. You can't tell me that You cannot tell me that my groceries that used to cost $119, that now cost $163, don't cost $163. I don't give a about the wages, the inflation, the market, this, that, and the third. Why the is so expensive? You've been in office for 3.5 years. Acknowledge you guys haven't fixed that. Obama's sitting there talking about, well, the reason why Trump economy was so good was because of me. What the does that have to do with right now? What does that have to do with right now? You got to take some responsibility. You can't tell me the sky is bright red when I see this is blue. This costs $163. It used to cost $119. Why the does my car cost this much money? Why is my mortgage so high? You're talking this goofy roundabout You gotta take responsibility.
So basically, you don't need Twitter to see the fucking grocery. This is what like the left just doesn't fucking understand. Like, they're used to gaslighting people so much, non-stop gaslighting, and like the gaslighting goes to ridiculous levels when you gotta lie to people about their grocery bill. You know, you can lie to people about wages, so you can lie to people about employment, because they can't fact check you. They can say, well, you know, maybe it's just bad that I can't find a job. Maybe my friends can't find a job. Like, maybe somewhere out there people have jobs, right? Like, I go to the store, I see people working, so, like, there must be jobs. It's just that I'm unlucky, right? Like, you can gaslight people like that. You can gaslight people with the crime. It's like, okay, crime statistics are down. Maybe I just live in a shit neighborhood. Maybe it's just, like, bad for me and the people I know, but, like, and elsewhere, maybe crime is down. But when you lie to people about the groceries, that's like telling them the sky is red. Like, there is a, you know, there's like a diminishing return. You can bullshit and bullshit and bullshit, but at some point, the bullshit has to stop. And they don't need Twitter. They just need eyes to see. Yeah, people have 2 jobs now. It's, I disagree, V. Did you see the interview between Elon, Joe, and Rogan? They actually think that Elon taking over Twitter took a toy from the deep state. No, I get it. I'm not saying that it didn't help, but like what I am saying is that even without Twitter, I still think that Trump would have won. Do you think that Trump will actually implement the tariffs like he says, and for how long? Also, hope you and your wife and your kid have been doing good. Thank you, Red Belmont. Based on what Trump did in the previous administration, and if you read his book, Art of the Deal, he is basically using this as a negotiation tactic. Like, he will threaten someone, like with North Korea. Right? You got North Korea talking about nukes, and Trump says, it's like, oh, you got nukes? Well, I got this well, and my button is working. Right? Like, he will start threatening. And after the person comes to the table and it's like, all right, you know, let's make a deal. And then the deal is something which is not 100% what Trump wants, and it's not 100% what the other guy wants. This is why he has that. So, like, regarding the tariffs, I don't think they will happen. I think he will threaten China with them, and then China will cut a deal. And they'll be like, okay, what the fuck do you want? And Trump will probably be like, well, please stop taking all our industry. And China will be like, okay, fine. You're going to have some of your industry back. Not all of it, but you're going to have some of it back. That's what I think will happen. Now, of course, if Chairman Z is unreasonable and he doesn't want to negotiate at all, then, well, you're going to have tariffs and you're going to have an economic war. So, like, both things can happen. But looking at the way that China is right now, their economic situation, I think that Chairman Z is likely to play ball. I don't think it's going to be a hard ass with Trump in office. He did make tariffs on Huawei. No, like, that's the thing. Like, he will threaten you, and then you have two choices, right? Because, like, this is why I can't speculate what will happen. I know what Trump will do, but it takes two to tango. So, like, he will threaten with tariffs, and then Chairman Z has two options. Number one, address the threat and negotiate, or number two, ignore the threat and get the tariffs. So, like, yeah, no, like, the tariffs will happen if Chairman Z doesn't do anything, but I think he will negotiate. Trump is telling all these countries to pay their own militaries, and the Europeans are like, you know, you're right. Well, yeah, no, like, the thing with Europe, like, again, Europe is one of the most arrogant nations on earth right now, and it's an arrogance that's not deserving. We are using American military for our defense. We were using Russian energy to power our countries. We were using we're still using Chinese manufacturing to manufacture our goods. And all we do is we regulate the rest of the fucking world while producing absolutely nothing. It's like a consumer economy, and it's not sustainable. This is why, if you're actually looking at things, before and during Angela Merkel, Europeans and Americans were about similar in wealth. Like, if you went to Britain, if you went to Germany, the wealth was kind of similar, but now Americans are so far off from us, and it's just going to increase. Like, Americans are going wealthier. Europeans do not understand how wealthy Americans are, and Americans don't know how wealthy they are. You guys are wealthy. You think it's bad. It's not. It's bad maybe compared to what it used to be in 2020, but like compared to the rest of the world, no, America is still doing excellent. And this is not because America is actually making right decisions. It's because the rest of the world, like Europe, is making all the wrong decisions. And I made a video explaining why Europe doesn't have social media, because it makes no fucking sense, right? Like, China has its own social media. Fucking Brazil has its social media. The United States obviously dominates the world with Silicon Valley. Why doesn't Europe have our thing? You know, why don't we have our Twitter? Why don't we have our Facebook? Because we used to have European websites. Where is, you know, Europe's version of YouTube? Where are the European search engines? Where are the European websites? And the answer is GDPR, right? GDPR, the data protection system that's coming from the European Union, which allegedly is supposed to protect your data, is incredibly costly and difficult to implement, and you have fines for breaking it. So if you're a social media company, unless you're like Silicon Valley that has like obscene level of wealth, and you can comply with the GDPR and you can comply with all the regulations, you cannot exist. Like, before GDPR, there were a couple of Eastern European nations that were starting to make their own social media websites. And they would have been competing with the US ones. But guess what? The moment GDPR is implemented, they're like, well, this is not sustainable for us. We can't do it anymore. And this is like just one example that the EU is doing. They're crushing their own economy. They're crushing their in-house stuff. Again, you cannot have an AI in Europe. Like, they regulate stuff, and I'm pretty sure they're like, oh, you can't use other people's work in order to create AI. It's like, okay, that's great, but apparently in America you can. So, like, anyone that wants to develop AI will go to America, develop it there, and then Europeans will fucking use it. How does that make any sense? Euros Online gloat about free healthcare and being paid to go to college. Clearly that means everything is going great. Yeah, it doesn't, like, okay, you can have your free healthcare and you can go to college, but at the end of the day, the economy exists on producing goods. You need to produce stuff. You can't just consume. And you can for a while until other countries, you get a Trump and they're going to be like, you become our bitch boy. You do what we tell you or we pull away the military. And what the fuck do you do? Because you don't have a military. And you need the military because Russia is being a little bit aggressive right now. So, you know, like it's a reality check, I suppose. Like, you need to come to terms. It's like, okay, well, this is how you wanted to run a nation. You wanted to have, like, politicians that are paid obscene amount of wealth and they live in the most luxurious place in the world, which is Brussels. And then, like, no one, and all they do is they make more regulations. But you're not producing stuff. You're not outproducing China. You don't have, like, a defense force like the US. You got nothing. You got egos, though. I mean, that's that. You know, you don't have AI. You don't have internet infrastructure. You don't have social media. You got shit. I just want to say, if the Americans were to just terminate all of that, like, let's say that all of the major internet providers would terminate deals with Europe. So, like, Europe would be banned from YouTube. It's not that they would regulate. No. Like, YouTube would just cease operations in Europe. Google would cease operations in Europe. All the social media giants would cease operations. Europe would just be destroyed. Like, you don't know how integral the internet is in a modern society. Like, if you're under 30, internet and real life are one and the same. Like you need it for advertising, you need it for banking, you need it for online transfers, you need it for everything. So, like, if the Americans would pull away, like, Europe has nothing. Nothing. We got jack shit. Yeah, Europe used to produce a lot, especially in terms of mechanical. Yeah, like the car industry, they keep fucking with it. The environmentalists keep fucking with the car industry. Like, there's a few things that Europe still has. Oh, we're producing German cars. And the politicians are like, how can we fuck with that even more? Like, let's assume that you would go electric. Let's assume that everyone would be electric vehicles. Oh, now where are we getting our electric cars from? Oh, that's right, we're getting it from Elon Musk. So you're getting shit from America, and on top of that, Elon Musk would probably get it from China and the third world in order to make his lithium batteries. This is the absolute state we're in. And if it keeps going, it's going to be worse. Now, I don't understand the people who like European Union. Like, there are certain people that love the EU. And if you love the EU, this would be your talking point. You should ask for reform. You should hold them accountable and be like, well, why is it that we used to be as wealthy as the Americans, and as we're moving forward, we're moving away from them? Can you please change course? Can you please do something? How many regulations do you possibly need? Every year there's like another set of regulations, another set of rules. Like, when is it enough? How many? Like, imagine if this goes on for 100 years. There's going to be so many regulations, you're just going to, like, if you want to start a small coffee shop, you're going to have to hire a guy to explain the regulations to you. Like, there's going to be people that go to a university for 6 years just to know all the regulations. I'm not even kidding with this. I'm not hyperbolic or anything. Like, this is the truth. It's not even socialist, to be honest. Like, if you look at how the EU works, you understand why it is the way it is. Like, rich countries are literally buying politicians now. So, like, let's say that I dislike the EU, right? Let's say that I want to run so that I go into the EU and I make reforms. Well, what happens is that when you actually go to the EU, you get paid around $10,000 a month. Like, how the fuck do you justify that, right? Like, you go from a Romanian wage, like, let's say you make like $2,000 a month, now you're making 10 grand a month for almost nothing. Like, you don't have to work that much. You got, and like the 10G is only like the stuff you can spend. Then you get like extra for hiring staffers, for hiring team. You get like free traveling expenses, and you even get money to invite a person and show them around Brussels. It's insane. It like obscene amount of wealth, right? Like obscene. And once you look at how it's done, like there's no. It's not like in a British parliament or Romanian parliament where they actually, all right, we're going to talk about this law today, and they actually go and they talk about the legislation. No, what they do is like Article 54.3-B. If vote yes or no, and then the parties, they're showing their thumbs up or thumbs down, the leader of the party, in order to tell everyone how to vote, and that's pretty much it. Now, here's the thing. a lot of people, when they're in that obscene level of wealth, all of a sudden they don't want to reform the EU anymore. Because they're like, well, if I reform it, then I lose these privileges. Sorry about that. EU and the Eurocrats' regulatory regime are just parasitic and nothing of value is produced. They are the reason the EU is stagnating. Like when the EU was created, there was good. But now, yeah, like it's a wealth extraction mechanism. They just extract the wealth. They're not producing wealth. And it is concerning because it's not sustainable. You can't like have a country that's ran on just like taking taxes away from people while not providing manufacturing, not providing any development on social media or the internet, refusing to engage with AI, which seems to be the future. Like it seems that every business is going to integrate AI at some level at some point. Refusing to have your own military, so you're relying on others, and also refusing to be energy independent. Like there is no move in the EU to try and make the EU energy independent. So like, come on. Anyway, can I have this job you speak of? Well, get elected for the EU. There was actually a YouTuber that got elected and he showed exactly what's happening at the EU. And many people were horrified. And it's like, well, why were you horrified? Like nothing changed. This is the situation that has been going on for more than 10 years now. And that, you know, like when you see that, you understand why the EU has so much censorship and shit. It's because these politicians are desperate not to lose the power. I mean, if you were making 10 grand a month and you're living the life of a king, the last thing you'd want is to lose the power. The last thing you want is to go back and have to actually work for a living. By the way, Alyssa Mercante ended up with a job at the Rolling Stones. Yay. Here's another video saying why Kamala Harris lost. Let me see if I can grab it really quick. All right.
And look at this. Look at this. Guess how much this is? Okay, this. It's an apple. It's called a sugar bee fucking apple, apparently. But look at it. The size of my palm. I thought it was probably just like $2 to $3. I scanned this other effort. I scanned it. $7 fucking dollars.
I mean, see, like with that lady, I can err on the side of meh. Maybe she's right, maybe she isn't. She did go and bought it from a posh place. Like, if you're going to go to a super posh place, and you're going to spend money for, like, a specific breed of apple, yeah, it may actually cost $7. But it's still a lot, right? Like, this is the posh apple. You're buying an apple in the middle of winter. You're buying like a specific type of apple. I could see it being $7, yeah. But like, my point is, like, right-wingers, you gotta be careful when watching these videos because not everything on the internet is real. And a lot of content creator may put up a video like that just to see if you believe it or not. So this is either like a very posh place or X to doubt. But at the end of the day, you know what? Everything is worth what a purchaser would pay for. This is the reality. I know my grocery bill. I know that apples are at $7. So this lady is either exaggerating or she went out of her way in order to go to a place where things are expensive for the rich people to buy. Yeah, if it's a price gouging grocery store. Let me talk to you a little bit about price gouges. Let's talk a little bit about price gouges, because it's the bane of the internet. It seems that, this is what happens with capitalism. They create price gougers. If only we had a controlled economy. If only everything was centralized. Price gouging wasn't exist. Let me show you something about price gougers. Scalpers are struggling to resell the PlayStation 5 Pro because it's in stock at most retailers. Too much supply, not enough demand. Okay? This is what happens to price gougers if people just don't fucking buy. If you identify as non-binary, then it doesn't matter who's price gouging. The price gouger are going to... You can hurt the price gougers by not fucking buying the $7 apple. You do not need the $7 apple. If they're price gouging the grocery shit, then all you gotta do is not buy from there. Or hey, you know what? You don't need to eat apples every day. Buy something else. Buy something else for a month or two, and then they're going to be like, oh shit. It's not fucking rocket science. People deserve what they tolerate. If you tolerate that shit, then you deserve it. Simple as. The PS5 Pro is one of the worst products that I can think of. So, besides the fact that it has no exclusive games, there is no reason why you want to get a PS5 over a PC. Like, a PC has all the advantages. It's upgradable. If it breaks, you can open it and you can repair it. You don't need to go to like a special repair shop. There is absolutely zero reason that I can think of getting a PlayStation 5. And on top of that, the difference between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro isn't that great. Sony as a brand is in the shitter. It decided to go woke. People are despising wokeness right now. Both the culture, the people pushing it, and the ideologues. Like the idea, when they come out and they flat out say, we want you to create a PlayStation account so that we can moderate you, so that you can have safety. And safety is a corporate word for control. The idea that when you're using voice chat to play video games on PlayStation, they record your voice so that number one, they can ban you if you say something edgy. And number two, they can use it to train their own AI. How about you go fuck yourself, Sony? I don't have to put up with this shit on PC. I can use gamer words. I can recreate that fucking bridge incident with PewDiePie so that you can't sleep at night. So that it keeps you up awake knowing that some twat in Romania, in his own free time with his friends, is speaking words that horrify your liberal mind. And I'm outside of your control. I'm in the danger zone. I do not touch your safety. Your safety cannot cover me. Fucktards. So yes, this is why PlayStation 5 is not selling. It's getting to the point where people like the video game Helldivers. Great game. You know, people absolutely loved it. Amazing. Until one day they were told you gotta move the mouse and click accept on a PlayStation account. And you had like one of the worst, like a moderator from hell. The nightmare moderator, like the plump, obese manifestation of a woman descending from the HR department with nothing, like oozing with disgust towards gamers. And that was the one like, yeah, you're going to have to create a PlayStation account so we can moderate you. And gamers went, you know what? How about you fuck yourself? How about that? And they were like, you know what? We don't want your safety. We want to live in danger. We like dangerous because we're fucking edgy. You can be safe, surrounded by your army of cats and bathing in your cat pit. We're going to live life dangerously. We're going to go mountain climb. Touch grass on the mountain is what we're going to do. So my favorite take was seeing all these leftists. It's like, but why are you so lazy? It's just like moving a mouse and clicking a button. Why are you... Dude, they weren't lazy. Like, they actually put in the effort. Giving a negative review, refunding the game, and talking shit about the game online requires more energy than just clicking the button to sign up for a PlayStation account. So all of a sudden, the number for people playing Helldivers just plummeted. Only because, like, they expected people to make a PlayStation account. That's how much people despise Sony right now. Now, Sony would have to do some self-reflection and wonder why they as a company have become so detached to their customers. Why are they so hated by their own consumers? Why do the consumer not recognize? Why is it that Sony CEO has to come up and remind people that we're still a Japanese company and no one believes them? No, you're not. You're Californian. You're from the place where you cannot find the space without a needle or a shit on the street. It's Cat Francisco. So, until they realize what is going on, they're not going to revert course. Mika Brzezinski corrected her husband Joe on their show when he said butter was $3 or something, and she told him it was $7 anywhere you go. Oh my god. PC is for men who build things. Console is for boys who play with toys. See, I would have believed you if this was posted 6 years ago. Like, it's true, 6 years ago, having a PC was a little bit more inaccessible if you weren't a person that was into tech, if you didn't know how to build one. Most people would be like, I don't have time for this, I got a job, I'll just buy a PlayStation. Nowadays, not only do you have like websites that tell you every day which is the best spec you can get. You know, you got like websites that tell you this is the poor man's PC, this is the medium spec for people on a budget, and this is like the high-end spec, right? And it just like tells you what to buy. But you also have ChatGPT. Like, you can ask ChatGPT, yo, like, well, I want to buy a PC. Which is the best graphics card? Which is the best CPU? And it just gives it to you, right? Now, let's say you don't know how to build it. Let's say you generally like do not know how to apply the paste on the processor. You don't feel like tightening the screws and shit. You go to a repair shop. You pay the guy like $10, $20 and they make your PC. And then you just go and you collect it. So, yeah, no, like, I'm sorry, I don't see the advantage of a console anymore. It literally isn't. And if you really want to be that guy, if you really want to do some, like, poor shopping decision, but, like, you don't want to do the extra legwork, but you want to throw more money, just buy a pre-made PC. It's a bad investment, but it's still better than a console. I gave a raise to my cleaning lady because the rising groceries. After I did, she cried, saying thank you. I did the same with mine. To be fair, in Romania, a cleaning lady asks for $10 a day, and she cleans your entire house. So, I now gave her $20. Her grocery bill went from $200 to $500, and she lives in a low-income neighborhood. Not going to posh stores. No, I know. But that's the thing, like, David Pacman, I'm going to make a video about it, but, like, David Pacman goes online and basically states how he notices that he's losing subscribers. I think I showed you guys the video. I'll probably play it again on my main channel when I make a video about it, because it's so fascinating to see, right? So like David Pacman goes and he is horrified, saying that he notices people are unsubscribing, and at first he thought that it's a YouTube glitch, but then he asked all of his lefty friends, he asked the Sam Cedar, and he asked everyone else, and he's noticing that no, it's not a glitch. It's basically like people are unsubbing because they're demoralized. So this is going to be the video on my main channel, but I'll give you a sneak peek.
5,000 YouTube subscribers compared to where we were last night. Now, the first thing I thought was, is this a glitch? We've been on YouTube for 15 years or something like that, and subscribers always just go up. They just never go down. They go up. Is something wrong with my channel? Is someone attacking my channel? What's going on? So I started texting. And I texted Brian Tyler Cohen. And I texted Tyler Cohen and Brian Cohen.
So like a lot of leftists, I don't know, including Sam Cedar.
And Sam Cedar. And every single one of our channels since last night is hemorrhaging subscribers.
So basically he says that the reason this is happening is because people are demoralized after losing the elections. It's like, no, David. No, this is not why it's happening. If this was the case, people would just stop watching. They don't now subscribe. Like, when people are demoralized, they just, like, tune out. You know, you wouldn't see people unsubscribing. And I know this because, well, guess what? 2020 happened. And that's what I experienced. Like, a drop in viewership, but not a drop in subscribers. No, this is out of spite. When people unsubscribe, they must really hate you. Because, like, moving the arrow to the unsubscribe button takes effort. It's simply like, you know, getting people to subscribe is difficult. Getting them to unsubscribe, same thing. Now, the reason people hate you is because you fucking lied to them about their grocery bill. Everyone is pointing this out. Like I remember on David Pacman's show, there was this guy going like, oh, I can't feed myself and my family. And he was like, but the exports, the numbers, the economy, the inflation, the economy is booming. It was never better, right? Like the left not only gaslit people about common sense issues, but they also gaslit people about stuff like Kamala is going to surely win. To the point where XQC, which was brainwashed by this cult, bet $700,000 on Kamala. Like, this is the level of gaslighting that you guys have accomplished, right? And people would bang their reputation. They would go to their friends, acting all smug, acting all arrogant, acting like cheeky little shits at the dinner table. And now they have egg on their face. And they don't like it, so they need to blame some. They're going to blame you. They're going to blame you, David. They're going to blame Sam Sidar. They're going to blame all these. You know, like, look at Sam Sidar. Sam Sidar goes on the Young Turks. No, sorry, not on the Young Turks. Goes on Tim Pool with the mini beanie. And they're talking about Anna Kasparian and the fact that she is now leaning towards the right. Apparently, it's unreasonable for her to do this. A homeless person tried sexually assaulting her. She doesn't feel safe. Her leftist politicians don't want to do anything to fix the situation. They want to take away her gas stove. Apparently, she read in the news how a guy butchered the woman, like hacked her to pieces, and then he got out on no bail. And when she complained about this on the Young Turk, you had people attacking her. You know, like this is Anna's lived experiences. And you can probably say, yeah, I mean, if it happens to a person, I can see why they may become a little bit more right-wing. But like Sam Sidar is, no, she is grifting. She is grifting. Like the right is buying her off. And then like Tim Pool goes like, no, she's still with the Young Turks. And immediately Sam Sidar is like, oh, well, I don't follow entertainment. Then if you don't follow entertainment, motherfucker, why are you so opinionated on it? Like, why are you... See, this is the problem with the left. They're used to just like parrot government propaganda, and they can do it with such a serious poker face because like no one can challenge them. And as long as they're saying what the government is saying, then they can say literally any type of absurdity. Any type of absurdity, because there's going to be an army of fact checkers and censors that are going to censor anything differently. But the problem is that you can lie and you can lie, but at the end of the day, the Chernobyl reactor still exploded. You know? You can tell people that, oh, it's not a problem, oh, like, don't worry, but then people get radiation sickness. So you know, you can make it that in the official papers nothing bad happened. You can shift the blame, but at the end of the day, the reactor still exploded. You can make people lose their job if they say, oh, it was anything else besides a small fire, right? Like you can force people to lie, but the reality is still there. And the crime levels and the economy have caught up to people. And they absolutely despise the ones that lied to them. Wait, Anna has a gun? Anna has a gun? That's interesting. Did you already mention that Kamala campaign is in debt? I did on Twitter. I asked Short Fat Otaku. It's like, okay, so please explain to me why you think that Kamala would have been better than Donald Trump, given the fact that she is in debt. She got more money than him. She lost. She is in debt. And you wanted this person to be in charge of America's economy. Like, I don't even need to know what they flap their mouth. I don't need to know what they talk. It's like, okay, if your campaign money is in debt, despite the fact that you raised record amounts, you may not be excellent at managing someone's economy, let alone the economy of one of the greatest nations on earth. But like here's the thing with Dev, right? Like let's go to Dev a little bit. Apparently, for a while, right-wingers were saying that FEMA is being malevolent, right? Like FEMA is not doing its best in order to help with the disaster relief, and it's actually hindering volunteers. Like this was the story, if you guys remember, right? Like FEMA is hindering volunteers to help, and they're not helping either. And people like Dev were like, no, you don't understand. You know, they're people that are just they have their heart in the right place, but like the bureaucracy or blah blah blah, incompetence, blah blah blah. But there were other people that were basically saying, no, it's in your imagination. FEMA is doing everything fine. There are no problems with FEMA, none whatsoever, right? Like that was the gaslight. There was nothing. Well, it turns out that there was actually a lady that did work at FEMA, and she was caught, and it's in the newspapers now, asking people to avoid homes advertising for Trump. Right? So like internal messages obtained by the Daily Wire show FEMA official ordering self-relief workers in Florida to not help people that are supporting of Donald Trump. Now what is Dev going to say about it? What is Dev going to say about it? Well, he's going to say Probably not FEMA policy or anything, just some shit middle manager who needs to be purged. So basically, I'm trying to explain. It's like, okay, do you not see an issue? Like, normal people, average people, we don't know what's happening in FEMA. Like, obviously, we don't have access to their emails. We don't have access to their internal communications. We do not know what's happening. But what we can see is how they are handling the disaster. We can notice by looking on Twitter, by listening to people on the ground, by hearing the people, and they're basically saying that they're not happy with the way that the disaster is being managed, right? And certain individuals can look at, like the FEMA's statements in the past and how they want to implement the equity and blah, 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 and how they're hindering volunteers. So, yeah, like, people can say, wow, well, this looks like they have it in for Trump supporters. Look at, this might be political. And then you have, like, an army of individuals saying, no, it's a conspiracy theory. No, like, you can't say that. You're not allowed to say that. And then when it's exposed beyond any reason of a doubt, like when it's exposed to the point where the cope is impossible, when you cannot defend for them, when you cannot pretend that it's not happening, then they will say, oh, okay, well, it did happen, but maybe, it's just a middle management guy, or like maybe it's not. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, please, just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Just shut it. Just fuck off. Fuck off. Welcome to Buyer's Remorse, Greg. Thank you for becoming a member. Yeah, it's a fair excuse when there hasn't been a consistent pattern of behavior. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, like, you see the Zoom sessions and you see all of the things. Like, at one point, like, as an individual, of course, you notice the patterns and you do not need to be, like, beyond reasonable doubt in order to form an opinion. Like, you can simply, for instance, if you go to a restaurant, and you look, it's the middle of the day, it should be filled, but there's no one at the restaurant. You're like, okay. And then maybe someone is there, and you see that they have a fly in their soup, and it's disgusting. And maybe you order something, and the food is also cold, and you're like, you know what? I'm never going to go to this place again. Why do you say this? Like, do you have proof beyond reasonable doubt that nothing on the menu is tasty? Do you have proof beyond reasonable doubt that maybe they didn't have a bad day? Like, no, you don't, but you already made an opinion, right? You can do the same for a government institution. It's like, if you're seeing certain things that don't add up, you're seeing the, like, promoting woke ideology, and you notice then that people that are right-wingers feel disenfranchised, and you see, like, what's the situation on the ground, and volunteers being turned back, and etc., etc. You can make the conclusion, yeah, I think these people are malevolent. I don't think, like, I think this is beyond incompetence, and this is maybe that their priorities aren't in the right place. Like, maybe they're actually, when people are saying that they're more interested in providing help for refugees than to provide help for people from a natural disaster, it's like, maybe, well, yeah, I mean, if their priorities into a woke ideology, it's probably that's how they allocated the money. It makes sense. Now, you don't have any evidence of it. You can't prove it. But it sounds plausible enough to be the case. And then people say, no, it's not happening. No, it's not true. You're crazy. Russian conspiracy. And then when those same people are being shown that this is happening, and it's like such an obvious thing that it's beyond any ability to cope, any ability to deny reality, then they go and they still downplay it. So no. Like, basically, before it's conclusively found out to the point where people can't cope and sneed on behalf of the government anymore, people would dismissively handwave the concerns of conspiracy theories and give the government an infinite amount of doubt. And you need to ask these people, like, how would you feel if it wasn't proven that the government acted maliciously this morning? Yeah, I'm starting to not believe in the naivete anymore. I'm starting to believe in more like some people just want to be contrarians. You will see, this is my prediction, I still keep it, that Dev believes the government 100%, but now that Trump is into office, it's not going to be the government, it's going to be Trump. Like, because up until now, if the DOJ did something, he didn't say, well, this is Biden's doing. It's like, it's the DOJ, right? But from now on, when the DOJ does something, it will be like Trump is doing it. That's how he will frame it. And the second thing, and again, like, this is my personal belief, is that he's going to be very skeptical of the government because it's under Trump. Mark my fucking words. I may be wrong, Mark my words. But this is how I think things will move forward. Something they've ignored is that most of the government inaptitudes are expected to avoid even in the appearance of impropriety, not just impropriety proper. I don't understand what you said. It's kind of like a tongue twister. But I like it. I'll give it the like. Give it the like, CJ. Has anything actually good preceded the words and why it's a good thing? No, because you normally don't have to add, and that's why it's a good thing if it's actually a good thing. Like, if it's a good thing, it's self-evident and you don't have to add it. But when you have to add, and that's why it's a good thing, is to rationalize the cope. Like, you need to say something that's bad, and it's objectively bad, and then you have to say, and that's why it's a good thing. Like, let's take something that everyone agrees with. A rapist has been imprisoned. And that's a good thing. Like, you don't have to mention that, right? Like, it's self-evident. Like, just by the statement, you don't have to add the phrase, and that's why it's a good... No, it's enough. You usually have to add that when it's obviously that it's not a good thing. It's like, an innocent man was in prison, and this is why it's a good thing. Right? Like you add the second when the first one doesn't make sense. You don't add the second when the first one is absolutely making sense. It took a bit, but you are seeing the bad faith now. Hey, it took a year, but like, I tried. I really did. Dev did say male rapist being in a woman's prison is a good thing. Yeah, he did. Government isn't even supposed to look corrupt. That is correct. Well, corruption exists everywhere, right? Like, we have a saying in Romania that there's like an acceptable level of corruption. It is difficult for people not to follow their self-interest. Because, like, what is corruption? Well, it's when someone follows their interests, right? Like, it's like, what's good for me and what's good for my family, above the interests of the nation. That's what corruption is. So, like, if you're a cop and you're corrupt, well, you're going to take bribes. Why? Because your interest is to make money and to bring to your family, right? So, like, instead of actually fighting crime, you're now enriching yourself because you're corrupt. So, like, there is a level of corruption that is acceptable. Like, it exists everywhere because inherently human beings are egotistical and they care about themselves. Like, this is human nature. Like, you need to train that out, actually. It's not on by default, right? Like, by default, most people care about themselves. Then they care about their family, and then they care about their kids, and then they care about their friends, their neighborhood, right? Like, it's like... So, anyway, a level of corruption is acceptable, but there is a point where the system is so corrupt that is not acceptable. It's like, okay, we agree that you need to steal a little bit for yourself. That's fine. But, like, at this point, you're stealing too much, We actually had, in Romania, like, there was, I remember a conversation, a leaked audio with a politician. And he was saying that, he was talking about giving a bribe. The way it works is that he was in charge of supervising the construction of a building. And he was talking with a construction company. and they were basically wanting to win the auction, so they wanted to bribe the politicians so that they select them to make the construction happen. And they were saying it's like 50,000. And the politician is like, well, for 50,000, I don't even get out of bed. And my political commentary was like, look, I understand that as a politician, you need to take bribes. I get it. But can you not get out of bed for 25,000? Like, I'm not going to be unreasonable and suggest that you should get out of bed for free. No, like, I understand you're a politician. You got elected. But get out of bed for 25. Like, come on, let's meet us halfway. Let's make it so that for 25K, you actually do get out of bed. And that's like the Eastern European mindset. It's like, okay, we accept that bad things happen. But can we regulate it so that it happens to an acceptable amount at least? It's like, just don't go overboard, you know? It's like, don't be too fucking greedy. You're allowed to be greedy, you know, but just a little bit. Just like a little bit in the middle. Like, we don't live in fantasy land. We don't live in the utopia where we believe that politicians will get out of bed for free. We're not mentally retarded. Like, we understand the world. We know how it works, right? But get the fuck out of bed for 25. Come on, try it. Try it for me. Like, one day a week then. One day a week. You know, for the other 6, you can get for 50. But, like, one day a week, get for 25. No, see, like Santon, no level of corruption is acceptable. Yeah, that's the utopia, right? Like, that's the fantasy land, that's the dream state, that's when you need mushrooms in order to visualize that. No, we live in reality. I understand how the world works, right? The older you get, like, maybe when you're my age, you're going to get it. But, like, there are 2 types of corruptions. Corruption is like pornography. Let's put it like this. It's like pornography, right? Everyone says they don't watch it. Everyone is clean, but it's still a multi-billion-dollar industry. Right? So, like, at the end of the day, almost every single man watches porn, right? But in public circles, in polite circles, they say they don't. That's corruption. You can either hide it and pretend it doesn't exist, and you're not allowed to talk about it, right? But, like, you can't possibly tell me that Nancy Pelosi is the best stock investor in the world. You cannot look at me with a straight face and tell me there's no corruption in the U.S. when you have the Nancy Pelosi example. Like, okay, so, like, corruption does happen. It does happen. But, like, can it happen to a level that's acceptable? Like, just not too much, you know, not exaggerated, just like a little bit. Zenith, do you think anything will change that Dev says not necessarily will change what Dev says, not necessarily what he thinks? Yeah, I have seen, like, Sargon chipping away at him. I think, like, Sargon is the only one that does it. Like, he can talk to Dev for, like, 2 hours, and eventually he's like, okay, maybe, like, I'll shift the goalpost a little bit, or I'll shift it a little bit more, or I find you're right, I'm wrong. What's better for society, cheap corruption or expensive corruption? No, the thing with the corruption is that you literally cannot stop it, because at the end of the day, it's human beings looking out for themselves. And you cannot find human beings that don't look after for themselves. Like, it's kind of like saying that you can find a person that has no sin. Like, it's impossible by definition. Every single person sins, right? So, like, why would you expect to create an institution that is sinless if it's staffed by human beings? So you cannot possibly have zero corruption. It just cannot exist in the history of mankind to create something where literally everybody is working out for the purpose of institution while having opportunities to enrich themselves but passing every single time, and all of those people do it. No, I don't believe it. I just don't fucking believe it. Now, I can believe that overall the institution still follows its purpose. Like, maybe only some people are corrupt, or there's a lot of corruption, but, like, the people are doing it with minimal stuff. Sure. But just so you can understand the situation from Romania when I was working at the hospital, I told this before on the stream, but in case you're new, I'll enlighten you again, because this is my favorite story. And it's based on a real event. When I was working at the hospital, I had to sign a lot of paperwork. And one of the things that I noticed is that there were no paper clips. Absolutely no fucking paper clips. And every single time, I had to go to this doctor's office that was a friend of mine, and I had to ask for paper clips. And at one point, I got fed up. It's like, this is ridiculous. There's no paper clips. Like, come the fuck on. So I go, and I managed to buy, like, 10 boxes filled with paper clips out of my own fucking money, and I went to the nurse office because that's where most of the paperwork was placed. And I was like, here, whenever someone needs paper clips, give them from. And the next day, guess what, chat? The magic came back. There were no paper clips, and I was like, is this hospital cursed? Why are there no paper clips? Like, this is not the fucking real. There is no way that they wasted 10 boxes of paper clips. Like, there were enough paper clips there to last for at least 6 months. Even if the hospital would run at full capacity, I have bought like 6 packages. There's no fucking way. So I decided to trace what's happening with the paper clips. And I actually bought another. It's like pretending to be busy while keeping an eye on them. Like, it went to autistic levels. It was a mystery that I was decided to solve. And then the chief secretary comes in and she takes the boxes. And I allowed to see what's happening with the boxes. Is she going to take them home, or maybe she just needs them? But why would she need 6 boxes, right? And then I confront her and I ask her, why are you taking these? And she tells me, well, what else am I supposed to take? And that's when, the world was revealed to me, the mysteries of the universe. It wasn't about that secretary. It wasn't about the paper clips. It was the nature of man. Like, God in that moment has revealed the mysteries of universe to me. And unlike some people in the chat, which are unenlightened, I have become enlightened. I'm like Buddha. I understand the nature of man. And when God offers you this possibility to understand some of his mysteries, you can either accept them, or you can turn your back to God and be in denial and live in darkness. But it doesn't change the world. You see, the reality was that everyone wants to take shit. But the secretary could only take paper clips because that's what she could take and get away with. If she was placed in a higher position, if someone at the hospital would take the same secretary, the same human being, the same person, and put her in charge of a warehouse, I guarantee to you there would have been other things missing. But because she only had access to the paper clips, that's the extent that she took. And I was like, okay, you know what? It's not that politicians are corrupt, it's that people are corrupt. And politicians come from people. It's not rocket science to figure out what's happening. Anyway, right. No, I didn't get her fired. What? Like no one cared. They were just paper clips. And see, like, this is like why you are still unenlightened. You don't get it. You don't get it. You think that firing her would have solved the problem. It wouldn't. Because the next person that came out, maybe she would steal pencils. It's not about the paper clips. You're not seeing the forest because of the trees. Sorry, you're not seeing the trees because of the forest. You're thinking that this is about paper clips. No, it's bigger than that. It's more grand than that. This is beyond the paper clip. The paper clip is meaningless. The secretary was meaningless as well. This is the nature of man. If you fire the secretary, the next person that comes in is going to steal papers or pencils or whatever the fuck they can think they get away with. It's not even the money, it's the principle, it's the mentality. I can take this and no one will find out. It's the adrenaline, it's the joy. I don't fucking know what it is. It doesn't matter that they were my clips. Well, it's not like it's a black market for office supplies, but I bet like she has kids that go to school and she feels like she's saving money by giving them paper clips. I don't know why. I didn't even got into it, right? Yeah, it's pretty much like the shopping carts, yes. Okay, let me tell you a different story from Romania. See, like Eastern European wisdom. If America wants to become more socialist, at least start listening to Eastern European wisdom. So there's this Romanian king, this voyevod, and he finds out that one of his nobles is stealing from him. And he is outraged because this guy, he treated him like a brother. He invited to his own table and he steals from him. So he punishes him with medieval torture. Punishes him by stripping him naked, tying him to a tree, and then dipping his body in honey so that insects would feed on him. And after a couple of days, he comes in, and this guy is covered with mosquitoes. He's covered in mosquito bites. He's not doing very well. And the Lord asks, would you like me to get these flies off you? Would you like me to make them to fly off so that you get a moment of respite? And the noble says no, because these ones are filled with blood. In other words, if you get the flies that have already dragged the blood to fly away, there's going to be hungry flies that replaces them. And that's when the noble realizes, like, holy shit, you know, like this guy, he's stealing from me, but at least he is filled. At least his belly is full. He's not going to steal. If I hire a new guy, he's going to be hungry and he's going to steal more. So it makes sense, right? It's like Eastern European wisdom. Yeah, those bugs were filled. Those bugs already had blood in them. If you chase them off and you get new blood, new bugs, they will be hungry. Romanian morality. It's communist morality, actually. I don't know if it's true, though. I have no idea. Probably not. The issue with dealing with people that have this worldview is that they'll never admit what they're doing is evil. I don't know if it's like... Yeah, but like if this is what's happening in the world, like let's assume for a second that actually everyone that can commit something bad and thinking that they can get away with it will do it. And it's a matter of statistic. Like, sure, you know, if you go through 20 people, maybe you will find that one person that doesn't do it. But like statistically speaking, like 70% or 80% of the people will do it. If this is the reality, like if this is actually happening, well, you can either deny that it's happening or try to work around it. Like, try to find a system. And you're going to assume, okay, if everyone steals, then at least I can get the people that are least corrupt, right? Like, I can accept that there's going to be some corruption, but then I need to have, like, some realistic expectations. Because, like, even, like, the lady stealing paper clips, right? Like, she wouldn't steal medicine. Like, she could have stole medicine and made more money, but she's like, no, this is for the sick. So, like, she had the moral compass. So she was like, okay, I'm not going to steal this because this is, like, way too much. But paper clips, I will. So, if you accept that everyone is corrupt and everyone is going to do things that advantage themselves, then you can also start, it's like, all right, well, then what would be a way so that this system can still function? It's like, okay, we'll only hire people that have like an acceptable level of corruption. Let me give you another example, right? And this is actually true. Back when Europe had factories, if you were a factory worker and you were making screws, like theoretically speaking, you shouldn't make a single screw that's loose, right? Like you shouldn't make a single defective product. But people realize that when you work at the assembly line, eventually there's going to be mistakes. Like, no matter what you do, you're going to have certain products that are faulty. Due to human error, due to maybe the material that the product is made of, you are going to have 5% of screws that are unusable. And they said, okay, 5% is acceptable. You are allowed to have like 5% failure rate, but anything beyond that, it's your fault. So that is a realistic way of interpreting how the world works. It's like, all right, no factory is going to have like 0%. Like, that's ridiculous. The only way it can have 0% is if they're lying. Like, that's also the assumption. If you see 0% corruption, it means that they're lying. So by assuming that there is corruption, you can actually test how honest the system is. And then you're like, all right, like 5% is acceptable. Anything above 5% is not acceptable. And when you have that mindset, well, then you can actually have workable institutions. Starship Troopers system was interesting in that they selected, at least in part, the willingness to sacrifice one's own safety for others. Starship Troopers had like many interesting systems. Like, for instance, if you were a private and you fucked up, you would get one punishment, while the same fuck up, if you are an officer, you can even get hanging. So, Rico in Starship Troopers, when he asks his companion to take his helmet off, he actually gets lashes because he was an officer. He was a team leader. But if he would have done that without being an officer, then the punishment would probably not have been corporal. And if he would have done that while being an even higher ranking officer, he could even get hanged. So like their punishment was basically, okay, you want the promotion, that's fine. But if you fuck up while being promoted, like while having more responsibility, the punishment is greater. So that's an actually interesting system. Like you're punishing people higher based on the promotion. And the reason it's interesting is that certain people that know they can't control themselves. Like there may be certain people that know, like, look, I'm a person that cares about myself a lot. But if I get promoted and I get access to this level of power, I will abuse it. And then the punishment is so big, I would rather not take the job, right? So like you're basically filtering out people based on their own self-conscious. It's like, if I get caught doing shit here, the punishment is this. But if I get caught doing shit there, the punishment is higher. So I'd rather not risk it. I'd rather not tempt myself with that level of power. Yeah, he does. I think in the movie he does become an officer, if I remember, where he was like a team leader or some shit. Like he was definitely not like a normal soldier. He was promoted. A field promotion. Yeah, that's what they called it. Yeah, if he was corporal and he asked someone to take off his helmet, the punishment would have been much higher. Anyway, that's about it. Gonna make the videos for my other channels, and I'll see you guys there. Hopefully you are entertained. Next week, I may have wars. We'll see. And until later, take care.